light heavyweights. And now another. We talked about Jose Aldo, 35. Clay Guida about to turn 40. Is that what they were saying? In like, 3 days now? As of yesterday, it was 4 days. Now he's going to turn 40 in 3 days.
Yeah, on the 8th. So 3 days from now.
Entering this fight, Clay Guida had just dropped the fight to Mark Madsen, split decision. And then he had beat Michael Johnson before that. So, look, Clay's been around forever. If you go through his results.
Look at this freaking record, man. This is insane.
Few losses. He's one of those guys that on paper, the record doesn't look like anything crazy, but there's a reason that he's been around as long as he has been, and fights like yesterday are the reason why he's been around as long as he has been. Again, 39. He's fighting a champion black belt jiu-jitsu artist from Brazil. He's almost on the verge of getting knocked out. And then he submits the same black belt Brazilian jiu-jitsu champion.
There was a moment where he showed his insane wrestling. I don't know what the name of that move is or if there's a name for it. I think there is no name for it. DC even said there isn't. But he did this crazy thing where it looked like he pretty much, not 180, but was it 270'd around Santos's body. And it was just one fluid hop up and 270 and then drop back down. And I'm like, what just happened? It blew my mind. For this 39-year-old to be able to pull a move like that off had me tripping out, man.
He's wild. Honestly one of those guys that I feel like he could just fight as long as he wants.
Yeah, potentially. Look at him. He's an animal, dude. The guy he looks mean. He looks like he wants to get in there.
But he never stops moving too. For 39, this guy's cardio is impeccable. He doesn't stop. From the moment he gets to the octagon, he does not stop moving. Every time as they're introducing him, he's bouncing up and down. Entering the ring, his brother slapping him in the face every time. He does not stop. He keeps going. Now, am I saying this guy's going to challenge for a title? No. But, when he's performing the way he's been performing, yeah, he's 39, but he's still competitive. And he's coherent. He can speak. He's not you're not wondering about CTE. At least I'm not when I see him. And this was reminiscent to me of Dvalishvili and Marias, because that first half of the round, you're like, oh, Merab's going to lose. It's over. And then Merab completely flips it around, the round ends. And then second round, Merab just finishes it off. Now, so the parallel for me on this one was Clay Guida looked like he was dead. Because there was a couple of times with Merab, I was like, oh, he's dead. And if I'm not mistaken, it's the same ref. I think Keith Peterson was the ref for both of those fights too. And I think Merab even commented, he's like, Keith Peterson's a good ref for not letting him, he's not calling the fights early. So I think that's what reminded me, I think he did officiate both of those fights. But I think what DC or Bisping or both of them were saying, they wouldn't have faulted the ref for stopping the fight a little bit earlier had he, because there was a moment or two where I was like, oh, dude, he's down.
Yeah. It was he had even
said that flight or flight of holding on.
Correct, and he had dropped down even, and he was kind of turtling up. And in that moment, I thought the same thing. Where I even said it, I'm like, they're gonna call it, and it looked like Keith was gonna make. And I think you're right, it was Keith Peterson. It looked like he was actually making the maneuver to go and stop them. And I'm glad that he kind of pulled back too, because we wouldn't have gotten to see this war. But I also probably would not have been upset over a stoppage at that point.
Yeah. I wouldn't have been, but for
credit
Santos,
to sorry,
go for it.
I was just gonna say credit to freaking Guido, man, Guida, because even though he had been taking all that damage, he had been turtled up like that. When he got back up, you couldn't tell that he had been taking a beating, man. Yeah. It looked really fine. It's just kind of yeah, whatever, it happened.
Especially when the second round started and he's again bouncing up and down. I'm like, were you in that last round? He looked like he just entered the octagon.
Yeah.
Santos was the one you would have assumed was the one that was just getting railed for that last 5 minutes. And it sucks for Santos. He completely adrenaline dumped. He went, and I don't even fault how Santos executed that round, because it seriously looked like I probably would have been thinking too. I'm like, oh, I got him. So I'm gonna go all out here. And then somehow this zombie doesn't go out. Keith Peterson says, I'm gonna let it go. So I honestly don't fault Santos. I think a decent amount of people probably would have kind of blown it like that and kept going with the expectation, he's just about done. And then as you see him get up, you're like, oh crap! And then you see the second round starting, he had nothing, dude. He had
Yeah,
absolutely nothing.
yeah.
That's unfortunate for him because it was impressive up to when Clay just somehow woke up again.
Well, I mean, you're lightweight, man. You know, if it and look, if you're gonna be getting winded, even though you're dumping, right? But if you're gonna get winded after a hard round one, you should probably work on your cardio a little bit more. You know, you're. It's not like you're one of these big boys. You're not a 200, 300 pound guy
Dude, but
that.
he was unleashing. It was like
Oh, for sure.
150% in every single one. I get what you're saying to an extent, but I don't know. I mean, regardless, super impressive for Guida. He afterwards, when they were doing like the not the octagon interview, but the one outside of there, he called out Nate Diaz because they fought once before and Guida won back in '09. He's like, if you want to get that one back, I'll give it to you. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, I don't think Nate has any interest in it. Honestly, I don't think that's a mass appeal fight either. Uh,
No,
but
it's appeal because
good
Nate
try.
Diaz is gonna be fighting, but
Yeah, exactly. So it's a good try, I guess, on the call out. But I mean, regardless, very impressive, very entertaining.